Approximately 80 billion pieces of clothing is consumed each and every year around the world. The retail industry is the second dirtiest, only behind oil, and it takes about 5,000 gallons of water to produce one t-shirt and a pair of jeans. These statistics are increasing at an alarming rate based on how we're consuming as a society. Each and every day we get dressed, we put on a pair of jeans, and we throw on a t-shirt on our way out the door. It's become second nature. With that being said, I think it's important to realize the impact that these clothes and our habits are having. My first section is going to be on the socioeconomic impact. With that being said, Emily Johnson was able to research and understand that about $2,000 is spent per person on clothing each and every year. It doesn't sound like a lot, but when you think about how many people there are in the world versus how much clothing is being bought, it's no shock to understand that the retail industry has as much power as it does. Celia Meadows from Fashion Now is really the cultivator and creator of the bell curve, in which depicts when trends are selected and implemented in our lives. These trends really depend on where your social class is and when you are most likely to select these trends and put them into your own closet. Most of us are not going to be in the introductory stage. That's usually right off the carpet, and maybe the high designers and the celebrities will be there, but most likely they'll be more in the rise stage when it starts to get more traction. Most of us will be in the accumulation stage, so that's right when it's kind of hit its peak, and from that point on it's just the decline and obsolete stages left, which is basically the clearance and the out of season. Lastly is the idea that the fashion industry is a game of imitation. Fast fashion itself is something that really is the cultivator of imitation. There'll be something on the runway tomorrow that'll be in stores like H&M by Saturday. They've gotten this product and production down from what should be 10 to 12 weeks down to 1 week. So it's pretty amazing what they're able to do. Now that we've heard a little bit about the socioeconomic impact, I'd like to talk about the environmental impact. First, starting with what's in our water. When we wash polyester clothes, it actually deteriorates to a microfiber, which is consisted of mostly plastic, so it's small enough to get into our waterways and go trickle down into the ocean ultimately. In about 50 years, there's most likely going to be more plastic in the ocean than fish. And the next thing would be what our shirts are actually made out of. Typically cotton is going to be the most popular, if not a cotton blend of some sort. Cotton actually requires significant levels of water and chemicals to keep the product and produce at its best stage. With that being said, more than 90% of our cotton is actually genetically modified nowadays, and the True Cost documentary was actually the one to really uncover that and really run with it and bring light to that. And lastly, I'd like to touch on an ABC News article discussing our air on Earth. By 2030, the climate impact of the apparel industry is going to match our green gas carbon dioxide, which is currently at an increasing rate. And now that we've kind of understood these impacts, what can we do to fix this? Who are we holding accountable? Is it the buyer, the designer, the producer, the supplier? Lots of brands have started to take the initiative of bringing to light the surroundings and the environment of their factories. A lot of the clothing industry has outsourced to China, India, and most of South America for this production. ABC, in the same article where they touched on the air, they also talked about the hazardous chemical waste in the water in China. And for buyers, that's us as consumers, what can we do about it? And the best thing is to really keep our product longer, to build lasting relationships. Like Livia Firth mentioned from Google Arts and Culture, we're less likely to wear something more than 5 times. We typically donate it or throw it away, so our landfills are filling up. So if we were to recycle, this impact would be greatly reduced. Patagonia actually is an innovator and huge founder of the recycling. They were actually one of the first to create a polyfiber out of plastic bottles. So they have a whole jacket made out of plastic bottles, which is pretty cool. And then Stella McCartney here is basically the face and the voice of sustainable fashion. This is something that is going to make a huge impact, and her voice is really changing the industry, and hopefully it'll trickle down. And unfortunately, the choice of what we're going to wear and when we're going to wear it is ours, and you know, we don't really get to decide if we're gonna get dressed. It's kind of part of us, but we can make more conscious decisions on what we're going to wear. So I'd just like to leave you with a quote from a Sustain Your Style website, and it says, "We tend to think that buying our clothes will make us happy, but maybe we should reconsider our lifestyles." So just really making the most of what we already own. And for more information, I'd recommend checking out websites like Fashion Snoops and Women's Wear Daily, where they have daily updates with the steps that are being taken and how they're reducing their footprint both on society and on the earth. And then also the True Cost documentary is really good.